Alright, well, MiSTerCades are finally landing in people's hands, and it's been really cool to see those get out into the wild and see pictures of what people are doing with them and how they're being used. Many of you know I was fortunate enough to watch this product come to life from behind the scenes, and I've done a few videos in the past, but given the recent hype and release, I wanted to revisit the MiSTerCade again today, and I thought it would be fun to tie it to something else that's been really consuming a lot of my time, the Smash TV arcade cabinet. Alright, so if you're not already sick of hearing about Smash TV arcade cabinets between my videos and Retro Ralph's, stick around because we're going to drop the MiSTerCade inside of this beauty today to take advantage of some real twin stick nonsense. When I first grabbed this cabinet, I was thinking to myself, please let there be a Smash TV or Total Carnage core for Mister so I don't have to chase down boards, and while that of course was amazingly selfish and not going to happen in the time frame I needed it to, there are some cool things I can still do with the MiSTerCade in this cabinet. Before we get started, the assumption is you already know that the MiSTerCade is a JAMA add-on that allows you to use your Mister inside of a JAMA wired arcade machine. There are already some really great tutorials out there, and I'd highly recommend watching Shoot the Core's setup video if you're looking for help getting up and running. And I'll also offer my gentle usual disclaimer and say that I am not the help desk for this product. Please watch the video or hit up the appropriate forum to ask for support if you need it. Alright, with that out of the way, we're going to plug in the MiSTerCade into the cabinet, and I know it's still a little messy inside here, just cut me a little bit of slack. So first up, probably to no one's surprise, Robotron 2084. When setting this up for a twin stick cabinet, you just want to pay attention to the fire setting and ensure that it's set to 4-way. You then just map the controls per usual. I did have to make my service button my coin button for this one since there is no free play option available. But this is awesome, and I know a few people expected me to roll this out in the Smash TV video that I just did, but I wanted to save its unveiling for today. I can't honestly say when the last time was that I played on an actual Robotron cabinet, so a true comparison to the original experience is probably a bit unfair, but what I can confirm is that, like all other MiSTerCade experiences, the controls feel immediate, snappy, and without lag. It would almost be a crime to have the Smash TV cabinet and not have the ability to play Eugene Jarvis's original twin-stick creation, but I don't have an original Robotron board. Now, this cabinet is wired for JAMA, so that I can of course play Smash TV and Total Carnage, and that presents some moderate complications with an original Robotron board that isn't JAMA. So this really demonstrates the benefits of the MiSTerCade wonderfully in my opinion. It gives a near perfect way to play a title without chasing down an aging board, and comes in a format that is plug and play in an arcade machine. So for the people who asked earlier, yes, I do have a way of playing Smash TV's brilliant predecessor on this amazing cabinet. While there are a handful of other twin-stick arcade games available for Mister, I'd argue Robotron is the cream of the crop here, so I'm not going to go through the others listed. Instead, let's boot up a more recent hit done retro style. Yes, Xeno Crisis, but not the Neo Geo version. This is the Genesis ROM. You'll recall that I mentioned I like the Genesis version because in 6-button mode, it allows for a button to be mapped to each direction of fire. So unlike the Neo Geo version, you don't necessarily have to come up with some type of convoluted control setup to get a second stick going. Well, just hold that thought for a second though. So for setup purposes, I had to make sure I was using the 6-button mode for this so I could map the 4 discrete fire directions to the second stick. I had to think about the layout of a Genesis controller for a moment while doing this to make sure I got it right. And now you'll notice that I immediately have an issue. With the Smash TV control panel, I basically have a D-pad and then my A, B, X, and Y buttons, and start. I'm missing C and Z buttons that would allow me to roll and lob grenades. So while the Smash TV control panel works great for the purposes of turning the Genesis version into a true twin stick shooter from, well, a shooting aspect, it does severely cripple the game overall. Now I could have mapped start to the service button and that would at least give me roll or a secondary weapon, but for the purposes of today's video, well, I just didn't do that. Now I'm not about to go drilling holes into my Smash TV control panel, but I suppose you could butcher this if you really wanted to, or you could come up with a custom setup if you were really ambitious about playing this type of game. I'd say the easiest way to handle this, if one were lazy like me, would be to plug in a CPS2 kick harness and then map C and Z to 2 buttons from there. You may need to get crafty about how you provide access to them then. Not ideal, but it would give you what you needed for those other 2 buttons. So after surviving the first level of the Genesis game without those 2 buttons, but having the ability to play with the 2 sticks, this game just feels so much more at home and, well, correct in some ways. It's like on the cusp of arcade greatness, and this feeling struck me kind of odd because I could definitely see myself enjoying a custom setup like this with the Genesis version, on an arcade machine, more so than the Neo Geo MVS version that I own. Further experimenting is definitely required here, but this is promising. Alright, so I did say the version of Smash TV that I was most familiar with was the Super Nintendo version. That was how I played this game way back in the 90s, so why not load that up and give it a go on a real Smash TV cabinet. Unlike Xeno Crisis, this works out a lot better since there are no in-game buttons to be concerned about outside of directional fire, and the Super Nintendo's controls for Smash TV map very nicely with the twin stick layout. I will say, I like the soundtrack on the Super Nintendo version better than the actual arcade board. The gameplay also feels a tad faster. The graphics do seem to suffer a bit though and are inferior to the original. All of that is just details though. It's a really cool thing to be able to play this version of the game on a real Smash TV cabinet with the twin sticks. It's a cool change of pace and something that I didn't think too much about when working on the cabinet, but it's just another one of those amazing things that the MiSTerCade can provide today. This is my childhood home version of Smash TV playable in a way that I never would have dreamed possible. Oh, Total Carnage works too, of course, but it kinda sucks on Super Nintendo, and well, actually it really sucks. Don't even bother. Now I probably won't keep the MiSTerCade loaded up in the Smash TV cab though. It'll make its way back to the Astro City where the control panel layout is a little bit more flexible for the games that it provides. Still though, it's not difficult at all to remove this little board and pop it in whenever the urge strikes. While Xeno Crisis proved to be a bit of a work in progress from an experience standpoint, having the option to play Robotron and home versions of Smash TV are a nice perk that allows you to experience the full legacy of that game. So let me know in the comments down below if you've picked up a MiSTerCade or if you're planning to. Let me know what your favorite twin stick shooter is, especially if it wasn't brought up in today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Later, guys.